Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to let some folks come into the room and we will get started in just a minute. Thank you for coming tonight. Okay. It's hard to believe the first set of King Tides are only really a little more than a couple of weeks away. It's been so warm. Okay. Still seeing some folks come into the Zoom room, so we will wait just another half a minute or so. Good evening, Matthew. Yes, those of you who are coming in, I'm going to welcome you and we're going to get started soon, but please feel free to use the chat window. Also feel free to raise your hand if you would like to speak. I think I've heard some things that maybe some of us are zoomed out, but also these are opportunities to come together and hear each other if we can't see each other. So this will be an interactive session, and the three of us will all have access to the chat, and so we can be looking into that and answering your questions. All right, so it's 6:02. We are going to get started. Hello, Scott. All right. Well, happy late October, everyone. It's been a while since we have had the King Tides in our lives, and I'm looking forward to kicking off tonight's webinar and the season with Meg Reed from the Oregon Coastal Management Program and from Margaret Treadwell from Cape Falcon Marine Reserve. And this is our first webinar of the season, as I just said. And tonight we will be focusing on Oregon King Tides Project new website. And I know that some of you that are here have already been uploading photos to the website. Some of you here may be familiar with the project. Some of you may have been involved in the project before. Some of you, this may be your first time. For those of you who have been involved, thank you. This project cannot happen without the volunteers. And that takes all of you and then all of us behind the scenes to make this happen. So we're looking forward to our first King Tide set, November 15th through the 17th. For those of you that I haven't met before, my name is Jessie Jones, and I am the volunteer coordinator for the Coast Watch program of Oregon Shores Conservation Coalition. And with me tonight, as I said, we have Meg Reed and Margaret Treadwell. I'm going to say a few words about Oregon Shores and Coast Watch in case you don't know, if you are first timers to this webinar series. This evening's webinar, as all of our webinars, are recorded and are also available on our YouTube channel. So if you would like that address, you can contact me after tonight's event. It's quite a long address. We need to have 100 likes before I can shorten it and say it nice and short and sweet what our YouTube address is. So if you want to, go and like our YouTube page and I'll give you that address afterwards. I'll try to remember to stick it into the chat tonight. So Coast Watch, who I am the volunteer coordinator for, is a mile-by-mile beach adoption program where our volunteers walk the beach at least 4 times a year. That's what we ask. Some do it more, some do it less, but many actually do it once a month, sometimes even more than that. From Fort Stevens all the way down to Gold Beach, we work together to collect some simple data of the coast mile where you are. And then I also work with partners like Meg and Margaret to bring you into deeper opportunities for science and citizen science, using protocols with a number of other organizations to collect important information for our coast. Coast Watch is a program of Oregon Shores, and Oregon Shores will be celebrating their 50th anniversary in 2021, which is very exciting. Oregon Shores works hard to actually protect our shores. It's a member organization, but also with volunteers. Our director's name is Philip Johnson, and if you have any questions about Oregon Shores or Coast Watch, please contact me. I will give you my email at the end of our session today. So it's nice to meet you all, and thank you again for coming. So for 11 or 12 years, I think, Coast Watch has been partnering with Oregon Coastal Management Program, King Tide project. King Tide, it was the King Tide Photo Initiative and now has become the Oregon King Tides project. Is that correct, Meg? Okay. And we partner in a way that we spread the word. Coast Watch helps to spread the word about the program that Meg and others are doing, and she is going to talk about that. And she will talk about the website, she will talk about the Flickr site, and why we document this program, or document the tides every year and then bring them to you in this program. I wanted to let everybody know, and I will again at the end of this, that this is just the first of a few kickoffs that we are having. Normally, these kickoffs are held around, well, up and down the coast, in community centers, libraries, and breweries, but this year we are bringing you the program online. We still have some great speakers, including tonight, who great partners and women that I know, Meg and Margaret, but also, so next month, Jonathan White, who wrote a book called Tides, a Science and Spirit of the Ocean, will be speaking on November 12th at 6 p.m. And in December, we have Marina Saros, who will be speaking about a book that she wrote about, she co-authored about sea level rise, but also about climate change curriculum in schools that she has been writing. And so that will happen December 2nd. And Sally Hacker and others will, I believe, be joining us in January. So check out our website. And I'll let you know more at the end. If you have any questions, let me know. So without further ado, Meg, if you're ready to share your screen, I will stop my screen share and we can get started.
Great, thank you, Jessie. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining tonight. My name is Meg Reed, and I am the Coastal Shore Specialist for the Oregon Coastal Management Program. The Coastal Management Program is administered by the Department of Land Conservation and Development, but it is a networked program, which means that we work not only within the agency of DLCD, but also with all of Oregon's coastal cities and counties. There are 7 counties and 33 cities within the coastal zone, and also with any state agency that has permitting or regulatory authority within the coastal zone. So that would be like the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife and Department of State Lands, Department of Environmental Quality, and so on. So it's a pretty broad program that works throughout the coastal zone of Oregon to protect coastal resources and manage human interactions in those spaces. So I mostly focus on coastal hazards, including coastal erosion, flooding, tsunami, and earthquake, and try to help communities update their land use planning programs to utilize the best available science and to update their regulatory framework to ensure that development is happening in a safe way. So part of that hat is to also be the co-coordinator of the Oregon King Tides project, as Jessie was mentioning. So this is the 11th season that Oregon has been participating in this program. We started in the winter of 2010-2011. It's really a program that's based on volunteers submitting photographs which capture the extent of high water when the king tides happen. Probably most of you already know what king tides are, but just in case not, they are naturally occurring phenomenon that happen when the moon, the sun, and the earth are all in alignment with each other, and when the moon is in its closest part of its orbit to the earth, and when the earth is in its closest part of the orbit to the sun. So it creates the greatest gravitational pull on the tides. So you have the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. And the reason why we're asking people to document the highest of the highs is to see where water is potentially having damaging effects, which helps us to capture potential impacts of sea level rise now and into the future. Sort of also known throughout the country as sunny day flooding, especially on the East Coast. There's a lot of high water events from king tides that happen more frequently than here in Oregon and have more greater impacts where they flood roads and neighborhoods and infrastructure. So we definitely have some of that here in Oregon, but they're definitely experiencing it at a greater acceleration on the East Coast. We have a little bit of tectonic uplift on the West Coast that's helping to sort of mitigate the impacts of sea level rise, but sea level rise is catching up and it will probably overtake that pretty soon. So we do expect things to potentially get more difficult for everyone. So that's kind of a little bit of the background. So please, if you have questions or need clarification about anything as I'm talking, please put them into the chat or raise your hand to come off of mute. I'm gonna share my screen so that you can see the new King Tides website. So hopefully you can see now. What I was just kind of talking about, what is a king tide? So this is in this page, the about page. So it's at the same URL address as it had before. So that's OregonKingTides.net. And we've been working on this new website over the past several months, and we've been trying to make it a little bit more user-friendly. It's also mobile-friendly, so you can see it better on your phone than the previous website. We developed a new photo submission form, and really we're trying to make the experience better for all of you, and also make it easier for you to participate in the program and submit your photos to us, and then also to view all the photos that we've had over the past decade, because we have over 2,000 photos, and so we really want to make sure to highlight those, and so you can see them in different like a gallery view versus a map view. So we just launched it last week, and so we're still finding bugs here and there, which I'll probably find tonight as I show you this. But please, if there are things that you would really like to see or to do differently, or if you just find that things are not working correctly, please let us know, because we really want to make this a useful website. And some things we might not be able to do, but it's still nice to know about those wishes so that maybe we can do them in the future. So please let us know as we go through tonight, and then just as you participate in this project. So I'll go to the home page first so you can see how it looks from the start. So we have a new home page, and on here you have a few different main things that you can do right away. So learn how to participate in the project, submit your photo directly, and then just explore some of the photo galleries that we've put together. And then, of course, it's very important to know when the next King Tide events are happening. So they usually happen over 3 days is when we advertise. They sort of like build up to a peak height and then start to taper down again. So usually the middle date is when the high tide will be the highest height. So the first ones, as Jesse mentioned, are November 15th through 17th, so not too far away. And then what we really prefer is to have pictures as close to the peak high tide as possible. So if you want to know when that high tide is happening near you, we do have a handy tide map that's in the website. And so you can see the map on the left-hand side, which has all the different tide stations in Oregon. So you can pick whichever one is kind of in the area you want to go and take pictures. So for example, this is the Sayusla River entrance. And so the tide tables will come up, and the king tides are the ones that are highlighted in yellow. And you can see they're the ones during the daytime. So you will have, also, there's 2 highs and 2 lows a day, but there's always one that's a little higher than the other. And that one in the winter time is during the day. But we also experience these really high tides in the summertime, but the higher of the high tides is usually at night. So it's not as conducive to going out to take pictures. And also it's not happening when there's also storm surge and big rain events and big storms, because that's really what adds to that high water level, is those additional factors which make it more dangerous and more impactful to infrastructure and the ecosystem. So that's really why we're focusing on the daytime high tides in the winter. So again, this is kind of how you would find the dates and times in your area. So November 15th, it's going to be a 9.13 foot tide at 11:20 a.m. So that's how you sort of read this chart, and you can scroll through the map and find the various tide stations that you're interested in. So that's the tide chart. I'll go back just to the home page for a minute, and then I just wanted to share just a couple things on the bottom. This King Tides Project International actually takes you to, oh, it's not working. So there's one error that we found. So actually it's supposed to take you to the King Tides International Project, which is for the whole globe, for any country or state that's participating in the King Tides Project. There's sort of a landing page for all of those projects in a central area. So we will fix that link, and that's how you can get there. Media inquiries, again, that's just really for the press looking to do stories. They just can contact us. And then the connect button is how you go to our social media sites. So I'll scroll up and you can see all of our social media sites at the top. So Flickr is where we host all of our photos that have been submitted over time. We have an Instagram and Facebook account that are both on the more active side. And then we also have a way for you to just email us if you want. So I'm just going to take a minute to answer some questions. Oh, it looks like Jesse did too. So the question was, do king tides only happen in November, December, and January? So they also happen in other months, but we are focused on the ones that have the highest tide heights and are in the winter months, as Jesse said, that also have those extra factors of the storm surge that can happen. Usually in those months. Obviously they can happen any other time of the year too, but that's usually where they're more typical. So please, yeah, feel free to continue to ask questions in the chat. And then just down on this part of the site, then it has the active part of our Instagram feed so that you can see it directly just here in the web browser. And then if you click to King Tides in the Media, it will bring you some of the more recent news articles and things like that have been published about the Oregon King Tides and the King Tides Project. So you can peruse those if you'd like. So that's how you can sort of connect to us on the different parts of social media. We looked through the About page. So there's what is a king tide and what the purpose of the project is. So I touched on that a little bit. It's to help us try to see the impacts of sea level rise on the Oregon coast and see what areas are particularly vulnerable to those impacts so that we can think about how to mitigate those hazards. We do plan to have more of a page on this website eventually about sea level rise and different projects that are happening in Oregon to address sea level rise and things that utilize the king tides photographs, but we haven't quite built that all out yet. So there's more to come on this, but for now there's just a little bit on that. And then we do have one particular project that's linked here about sea level rise impacts in Oregon's estuaries, which you can click to by getting there. So just wanted to mention that there is going to be more on this, but we're not quite there yet. Let me see, there's some more chats. I think that's good. I won't address those right now, but so these buttons, the outreach actually brings you to an album on Flickr where we have some materials that we've developed over the years. This one in particular we developed last year, and some of you may have seen that these have been they're actually printed on really big banner on vinyl sheeting, and we have them traveling around, but since we can't really do a lot of things in person right now, we did make these available. So if you wanted to learn more about them or use them for some outreach or informational purposes, they're free to utilize. So you can actually download them directly from Flickr. So they're there if you want to look at them and learn more. So that's all that's there for now, but we'll probably have more things over time. And then the Connect just goes back to our social media. And this is just a little bit of information about our two organizations that co-coordinate the project. So just some basic things, but now kind of more into the exciting part of the website and of the project is how you participate. So of course, we always want you to be very safe when you're going out to take king tides pictures, because there could be sneaker waves and big waves and storm events happening. So we want to make sure you're taking pictures from a safe distance, the weather conditions and the safety of the site. So please keep that in mind when you go out and take photographs. So like I said, the best time to take photos is at peak high tide, and you can check out the tide map for more information. Where you can take photos any place that's tidally influenced, so that could be the outer coast or up into the rivers and the estuaries. We do have a map this year, which is new, that kind of shows you some priority locations. And this is just a map that shows that's not working either. I will show you in a different spot because I think it's working here. This is just some generic locations of places that have not gotten king tides photos in a few years, like 1 to several years, that have not received photos in these areas, but have received king tides photos in the past. So they're good places that we would like to see more photos taken this year or in the future. So depending on where you are, most of you are probably from the North Coast, and I know Margaret is going to be talking more about this after me, so that she'll talk more into detail of good places on the North Coast to go. But just so you know that this is there too, and if there are other places that people would like to see more photographs, please let me know and we can add them to this list. And then the last thing is submitting your photos. So we would like you to use our online photo submission form, and we've hopefully made it easier than we have in the past to use that on your phone or at your desktop computer when you get home. So whether you're taking the photos on your camera phone, or if you're taking them on a, like a digital camera and you're going to submit them later, hopefully this will be a good spot for both of those options. So the photo submission form is built right into the web page. There's some information on the side that just says what kinds of photos we're looking for, and then also what the license that we will attribute to your photo when you submit it through us, which is the non-commercial share alike, which you might be familiar with, which basically means that we will use your photo for educational purposes and not for anything commercial related, and that everyone else will do that too if anyone else uses your photo. So by submitting your photo, you agree to that photo permission, so that's at the top. This year, we also are going to be doing a photo contest. And so here's where you can opt to say yes or no to that. Basically, we're partnering with the Oregon Coast Visitors Association, and they're going to have some prizes. I don't know what those prizes are yet, but more details to come. And you'll basically have the whole season to submit your photos, and we'll have a committee to decide on the winner. And then we'll have a few different prizes for the winners at the end of the season. So you can opt in or not to that contest at the top. And then you have the option to either take the photo directly in the field while you're out, or like I said, you can upload your image after the fact. Then there's where you can take, or where your photo location is. The hope, there's still a few bugs potentially with this. The hope is that if you have GPS information already embedded in your photo, it should auto locate on this map, but you should double check that and make sure it's correct. If you don't have GPS information in your photo, you will have to manually place a pin on the map of where you took the photo. So for example, I'll just put Newport, Newport, Oregon. And then you can scroll in and say that we were on the bayfront where you took the photo. You just click and the pin will drop there. And you can see you could also just manually insert the Latin long if you wanted to. And then click photo location or direction of which way you were facing when you took the photo. And that is helpful for people who might want to replicate that photo into the future so that they know what direction. The date that your photo was taken, this is very important, and then photo content. So, you know, are there hazards in the photo? Is there infrastructure? Is there like a dock, or is it more of a natural beach scene? Is the water showing reduced beach access, structure damage, home damage, things like that. So you can check whatever applies. Come up with sort of a short description for what your photo is, hopefully sharing its location in some way. And then there's an option for any other details that you might want to share. Then you can click if it was a king tide or an average high tide. I didn't mention that yet, but something that's really helpful for us to have is comparison photos of the same location at an average high tide. So that's something that's really helpful to us. And so you can click one or the other. And then at the bottom, there's this plus sign, which means that you can actually submit more than one photo. So I think it allows up to 10 photos per submission. So again, you just go through all the same thing. And then when you're done, you put your name. You don't have to do this if you don't want to have photo credit, but if you'd like, please put that down. You can put either your name or your handle for social media or your website or whatever, and then click submit. And we will get that photo. So that's really hopefully going to be easy, and we really want all people to submit their photos through this format. If you have trouble and you don't want to submit that way, you can email me and let me know, but this is really our preference. So not on social media, not through email, not through any other format except for this online form. And that just really helps us ensure that all of the photos are submitted in the same way and are all housed in the same location, because we've had it other ways in the past, and that's made it really difficult on the back end to curate them and to have them easily searchable and things like that. So this just makes it a lot better for the quality of data on the back end for us to have all of them submitted through this one form. So just wanted to really emphasize that. There's a question about videos. That's a great question. We do like videos, so those are really great. I think at this point, the photo form probably doesn't take them, and it's just kind of a difficult thing, but you can certainly just email that to me, and if you can include all the same information that's in the form, that would be great, and then I could do it manually. Limit on photo size, I'm not super certain, but I can look into that and we can post it somewhere. So let me just write that down. I think there is, but I just don't know what the number is off the top of my head. Okay. So great questions. So that's a photo submission form. Please let me know if you have questions or thoughts. The photo gallery is sort of the other main thing that I really wanted to point out that I'm hoping is really helpful and nice for all of you. So there's a couple different photo galleries that we have now. This one is all the comparison shots that we have. I think there's a few more I need to add, but these are all the ones that we have where there was submitted an average high tide photo with the king tide photo. So that's really fun to look at. You can really see the difference in water level there. Highlights, which is just kind of a selection of our favorites over the years. We'll just be continuously adding to that one. So that one I would say is a really good place to, if you're just looking to browse photos, that one would probably be my recommendation to look through. And then the current season, it's not active right now, but this one will show immediately. Once you submit your photos, you'll be able to see it on a map in this location, but it's not open right now. Like you'll get a pop-up right now that says check back soon, because we don't necessarily have many data points yet. I think some people have been submitting things, but we don't have a lot of data points yet. So we'll start activating that at the first King Tides this November. Then there's an album on hazards. So this would show like erosion impacts and flooding and things like that, impacts to roads and things like that. So that one, that's an interesting one to take a look at. I'll get back to this all-time one, but then the aerial imagery one is all the different albums that we've, it's actually not finished yet. There's some missing from this, but it should be sort of a highlights of all the different aerial imagery that has been submitted to us over time, which has usually been flown by the volunteer conservation organization called Lighthawk. And usually some photographers can go up with them while they take flights and take flights during the King High Tide, which is really pretty cool. So I would, that one's a cool album to look through as well. Let's see. To photo inland on creeks or river, yes, definitely. We definitely want any place that has that is tidally influenced. So that can be all the way upriver, as long as there's some water coming up there and they're experiencing the tidal influence. And yes, please submit those photos. Thank you. So I wanted to talk about the all-time one. So I know this one might seem frustrating to some people, and it is frustrating to me, but there is some limitations to this one. So this is a map that shows all the data points of photos in which we've received location information. So it's not every single photo we've ever received, but it's all the ones that have location information. And as you scroll in, the dots will change. And so you'll see the number of photos that were submitted, and the colors represent the year or the season that they were submitted. But it won't show you the actual photograph. And I know that that would be nice, but the problem is that there's so many photos that they would take a really long time to load, and it would sort of bog down the user experience, and it wouldn't really work very well because we have so many photos. So that's kind of why we made this highlight albums and the best of and the comparison albums and things like that, because that's really how you'll get to see those photos. But this is just so you can sort of see where the photos have been taken over time and in what year, so that you can start to think about, like, if you wanted to prioritize a trip where there haven't been a lot of photos in the recent history, then those would be good places to go. So it's just kind of interesting to see the clustering of all the different photos over time. We hope to be able to change that kind of experience at some point in the future, but sort of our technology is the limiting factor at this point. So those are the photos, and that's pretty much it. The last tab is just the events page, which, you know, the event we're doing right now is listed, and the ones that Jesse mentioned in the beginning will be listed really soon. So those are just, you know, so you know about these upcoming promo events. But otherwise, I think that is it. Does anyone have questions, thoughts, feedback that they wanted to talk about? The other thing that I'm just showing here is, this was, if you go to our Flickr page, which I think is in the connect part of the website, so this first button, it will take you to this album page, which is somewhat similar to the ones on the website as well, but every single season is also here. So you can look through the photos that way as well, just directly through Flickr. And then the last thing I'll mention is, and also in the photo gallery tab, if you keep scrolling down, we have the top photographers who have contributed through their Flickr accounts listed, but then this button, the Oregon King Tides Flickr group, will actually take you to the public King Tides photo pool, which has sometimes different photos from the ones in our personal account, because we don't necessarily have permission to use all of these photos, or we haven't downloaded them all necessarily. So these are the ones that people who are Flickr account holders will submit to us. So that's just another place where you might want to peruse photos. So lots of different ways to get to the photos. Oh, I did have one other thing that I wanted to mention, if I have the time, is when you're on Flickr, and I'll actually go to our page with albums. I know that this has come up before, so you actually can search this, and it's a pretty decent search. So if you go up to this top tab, you could type in, say, like you wanted pictures of Nehalem. You could just type that in, and it will come up. For photos, and then it will show you photos from the different groups, and so it should show you the Oregon King Tides photos at the top, and then you can actually do like years, like if you wanted to see, you know, from say 10 1 2010 to 10 1 8 1 2012. See if I can think of this up. So yeah, we have these pictures from Nehalem from those years. So I just wanted to mention that there is actually a pretty powerful search engine through the Flickr page, and we've had multiple interns over the years who have really done a good job of putting tags on all of these photos so that they could be searchable. And that's actually why on the photo form you have those content check boxes, because it actually does make searching for them a lot easier. So that's another reason why we do that kind of stuff. So I really hope that you can see that these photos are really powerful in lots of ways, and they can be used in lots of ways, and they're free for all of you to use. Anyone can use them. You just, you know, need to give photo credit, which is usually listed on the photo itself, and you know, you can download on the side in all sorts of sizes. So please feel free to actually use these photos yourselves if you'd like. Let's see. Yeah, website address in the chat. I will do that now. It's OregonKingTides.net. Hopefully that works. Yes, definitely great interns. We've had some really fabulous interns work with us over the years, and this website is really the culmination of a lot of their hard work. So we're really grateful to them and to all of you for submitting photos over the years. This has been a really great project to see grow, and I think, you know, we're starting to see the benefits of this long-term monitoring system, which I know can seem frustrating and not so cool at first when you're just trying to collect data year after year after year in the same spots, but you know, it really starts to pay off after you've done it for a really long time and you get to see those changes. So I think we're getting to a really robust data set that will serve us well as we continue to deal with climate impacts into the future. So please keep submitting your photos, give us your feedback. We want to make this an easy and a meaningful experience for all of you. So I will leave it there unless there are other questions.
Thank you, Meg, so much. Everyone, Meg has been working really hard behind the scenes to make this website even more accessible for everyone, along with some other staff members also behind the scenes, making it accessible so that we can continue to lay down these really important baseline photos, which is what you're all contributing to. And we have a lot to cover tonight. But hoping Margaret can turn her camera on and come back into the room. I know she's there somewhere. Hi, Margaret. This year we are also, well, it's always been a part of the project to take regular high tide photographs at those sites where you take the king tide photographs. And like I said at the beginning, some of those are already starting to come into the site, which is great to see. And Margaret, which I want to thank Margaret and Cape Falcon Marine Reserve we're sort of co-hosting tonight, but Margaret and the reserve are a partner of Coast Watch. We have some webinars more about Cape Falcon on our YouTube channel, but also Margaret will give you her website, her Facebook information, and we love connecting our Coast Watchers with the marine reserves, of which there are 5 on this Oregon coast. And Margaret and Cape Falcon are the most northern at this point. I am in Astoria. Margaret is also in Astoria. I think Meg is still in Newport, I think. So we're kind of coming at you from around the coast. And Margaret's going to talk a little bit about Cape Falcon Marine Reserve, and also kind of tonight's focus for our kickoff and on the North Coast are sites that may need to be photographed. So Margaret will be sharing some of those sites. And then if any of you have thoughts about where you would like to go, or you have some ideas that Margaret hasn't brought up, please do so. And take it away, Margaret. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessie. I'm super happy to be here and happy to do a little focus on North Coast sites that might need a little more coverage. So as Jessie said, my name is Margaret, and I am the coordinator for Friends of Cape Falcon Marine Reserve, which is our northernmost marine reserve in Oregon. And what our organization does is education and awareness about the marine reserves, and specifically Cape Falcon. And so I'm just going to share a little bit of information about that before I get into the King Tides locations. So Jessie mentioned that, oh, why is it going through so fast? Sorry, guys. This is a new problem. Sorry. I don't know why this happened. All right.
Well, we're all here with you, Margaret.
Okay.
All of us can appreciate technological problems, and
yeah, just like
surprising when they happen.
A new, fun technological problem that hopefully will not happen again. I'm really sorry. That's new and exciting.
Okay. That's okay.
Anyway, so there are 5 marine reserves in Oregon. The northernmost one is Cape Falcon, and it's doing it again.
Is it like on automatic slideshow, maybe? Like, is it timing going forward?
No, but that is not intentional.
That was very, very fast.
Let me try a slightly different approach, and then I think we'll be okay. I am so sorry for the problem.
That's okay. I can attest to everybody here that Margaret, usually her slideshows are perfectly timed. So, no problem, Margaret. Don't even worry about it. But I hope that we can get it to work for you.
Yeah, we're just gonna make it be like slightly funky, where you can see the next slide coming up, just so we can get through it. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. We can see a tiny bit of your notes at the bottom, but that's...
Yeah, that's okay. There you go. That's a little neater. Sorry. So here are 5 marine reserves, and they were established by legislation. And ours up here at Cape Falcon went into effect in 2016. And these are in Oregon's territorial sea, which goes out 3 miles from shore. And when the marine reserves were established, there were 3 goals established. So those were to conserve marine habitats and biodiversity, to do scientific research, and to do those things while avoiding significant economic impact. So a marine reserve is a place where all removal of marine life is prohibited and all ocean development is prohibited. And then there are adjacent marine protected areas that have varying rules that were based on the site and what happens there and what the uses are. But there's always, ocean development is always prohibited in those areas. And here's a map of the Cape Falcon Marine Reserve so you can see. So it's right off of Oswald West State Park, between, for locals, we can say between Arch Cape and Manzanita, but if you're from a little farther away, probably Cannon Beach is a better landmark. So between Cannon Beach and Manzanita, and having it right next to the conserved lands of Oswald West State Park and other conservation organizations like North Coast Land Conservancy and Lower Nehalem Community Trust, just kind of strengthens the preservation of those ecosystems. So what does Friends of Cape Falcon do? So our role is to support the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife in outreach and education about the marine reserve. ODF&W has really limited capacity for that. And actually this year, their budget was cut, and their one outreach staff was actually eliminated, and hopefully it'll come back when the budget is better. But so they do not have any public outreach position for that for the Marine Reserve program at ODF&W right now. So what we do is even more important nowadays. And a big part of that is helping to just working with partners like Oregon Shores and Oregon Coastal Management Program and Portland Audubon and others to help organize community science in the Marine Reserve. And as part of that, that's why we're here, helping to promote the king tides and recruit some volunteers. So I'm just going to show some of the photos from around the Marine Reserve from king tides. So this is the mouth of Short Sand Creek. So those of you who are familiar with Short Sand Beach in Oswald West State Park, this is the creek that comes out onto that beach. And as you can see in this photo, the beach is completely covered by waves, and it's basically coming up into the creek during this high tide, this king tide event. Here's another pretty dramatic photo from that same event. And this is at Short Sand Beach. And this is a person who got caught in a surge, and they were fine. But this really just kind of illustrates that this is not a safe time to be down on a beach. Really, if you're taking these photos, you need to be up above, you know, in a safe spot. It's really, really important. So I just want to emphasize that. Here's one more from Short Sand Beach. This is that path leading down to the beach. So if you've been there before, you know this is not at all how it normally looks. And usually you walk down the path and you have to walk down some cobble, and there's quite a bit of sand to get across before you even get to the ocean. So this, so that's a pretty dramatic, look, I'm doing it again. That's a pretty dramatic difference there. And then here's just one photo at Falcon Cove, which is at the very north end of the Marine Reserve, actually in one of the marine protected areas. And I wanted to share this one. This was actually taken by one of our volunteers, one of our core volunteers who was there last January. We did have two children who were lost during this event. And she was right there when that happened, and the family did come to her house in the immediate aftermath. And so she asked me really to, like, personally, just to make sure that folks know that it's a safety issue. And I don't know if the program has particular protocols about whether to warn people, but certainly like casually in any way that's safe for you to just let people know that it's not safe to go down on the beach might be a good idea. So let's move on to spots that might need some photos. So Meg had pointed out that priority areas map. And I was pretty excited as someone who lives in Astoria to know that both Astoria and Fort Stevens State Park need more photos of king tides, because that gives me a fun project to do not too far from home. So those are two areas that need more photos taken. And then also in Seaside and Gearhart, you know, when we think about king tides, I think the thing we first think about are beaches and headlands and those really dramatic pictures of the waves rushing in and coming up the roads, like the beach access and things like that. But actually it's super important, as Meg pointed out, to take photos in estuaries so we can see how they're impacted. Because oftentimes those are the areas that actually have more infrastructure in them. So sea level rise and king tides there might actually be more of an issue going forward. So some of the spots that we talked about were the mouth of the Mechanicum River in Seaside, the Seaside turnaround, and in the Cove. And then at Cannon Beach, the Ecola Creek Bridge and Breakers Point condos. And of course, anyone who lives in these areas is going to have their ideas too. And so if you think, hey, this is a great spot to see those crazy king tides and do some documenting, by all means, go out and do that. Going south a little bit in Arch Cape, there's two beach entrances that would be great to document. Falcon Cove again, Short Sand Beach. Downtown Nehalem usually floods, so it's good to get photos of that. The Nehalem Bay boat launch, Wheeler Dock, Rockaway Beach, and Tillamook Bay. And If anyone has any other ideas that they want to talk about, feel free to throw those into the chat. And that is it for key sites. Yeah, Jesse.
Hey, Margaret, can you back up a slide?
Yeah, of course, easily now because I'm like doing it this way.
And thank you, Margaret. That was great. I'm sorry for your tech problems, but you're totally able to get yourself across. I'm going to turn on my video here.
Good. I'm really sorry. I have an exciting problem.
No, it's okay. It's wonderful, actually. This is the first year that I can remember, and maybe, well, this is only my second year. So Meg, you've been doing it for many more years than I have, since I'm relatively new to Coast Watch. It's just my second year with the King Tides. But I don't know if we've done webinars, which we plan to do throughout the season, really focused on specific sites. So this is kind of a shout out webinar to say, hey, here are some sites where we need photos, and they're pretty specific, some of them. So we have Astoria, Fort Stevens State Park, Seaside and Gearhart. So the mouth of the Mechanicum River, Seaside Turnaround, Seaside Cove. Another place that I can think of, I know that I've talked with Nadia about in the past, is that bridge on 101, the Mechanicum Bridge, kind of near the restoration project that North Coast Land Conservancy did. So in between Seaside and Cannon Beach, kind of south, there's a bridge there. Do you know which one I'm talking about, Margaret?
I'm not sure. Is it like by Circle Creek? By Circle Creek?
Yeah, near Circle Creek. Yeah.
Because there's that stretch of road there that tends to flood also.
Yeah, exactly.
Right by the RV park. Yeah.
Yeah. So those inland photos would be really helpful as well. So if you can advance your slide to the next one.
Yeah. So Barbara put it. It's called Circle Creek Bridge, maybe.
I'm thinking like further up, like really like or down. I mean, south of, pretty far south of Seaside before you get to the 101 26 interchange there.
That's where I'm thinking.
Okay. There was this, I think I actually put it in the chat, Rockaway Beach parking lot. Which area do you know? The main beach. That would be good. I don't know, Meg, do you know if we have any photos from that parking lot yet?
No, I can't think of any, but I don't know all the photos by heart necessarily, but yeah, I don't think there are many in that area.
Yeah, and I know that there are some structures that were photographed, and actually videos that were taken last year in Rockaway, some of the homes or condos there that are pretty dramatic and interesting. But that main beach parking lot is a good idea. So, okay. Well, thank you, Margaret. Was there?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just my last two slides are just a thank you to our partners, which includes you, Jesse, and just my contact information if anyone needs it. But just Google Friends of Cape Falcon Marine Reserve and you'll find me.
Great. Thank you, Margaret.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for the technical issues.
That is okay. All right. So it looks like we don't have any questions at the moment, but if any of you would like to either raise your hand or ask us in the chat or do the Q&A, I'm really happy and excited about the new website. I can say that much. And I think there's still a few glitches, Meg, a few tiny things. And so it might be in the next few days, if you do try to take some regular high tide photos, which is a good time to do that between now and the 15th. If you have any issues, you can just email Meg. Her email is in the chat and we can put it in there again. You can also email me, and you can also email Margaret, whoever you want your contact person to be about this, about your photos. Let us know. I'm guessing that most of you are from the North Coast tonight, but we will be having some sort of Central Coast and South Coast focused meetings and webinars as well. If you have any contacts in other part of the coast that you would like to be in touch with us, please send them our way. If you are coming into this Zoom room tonight from another part of the state, another part of the coastal state or wherever, and you can think of some sites that you would like to see photos. If you can't get there, let us know. And I every year have folks reaching out to me asking if there are places where they can go. They just want to go somewhere and take photos, and you might be that person. So let us know. And let us know any issues you have with the website, any questions that you have. Like I said, our next King Tide event is on Thursday night, which it was going to be Friday night, but that has been changed to Thursday night, November 12th at 6 p.m. And I don't know if Meg can be there that night, but we will have maybe somebody from OCMP. We'll see what happens. But I will be there and taking over for Meg if she's not there. And Meg, I just want to thank you so much for being here tonight and talking about the new website and giving some of your sharing your experience and expertise with all of this. It's nice to have you here this year. Missed you last year. Yes, so I think I was going to do a share slide, but I'm not going to. My email is jessie@oregonshores.org, and I will type that in there right now. And if Margaret, if you want to share yours in there again, you can. And if Meg, if you would like to, there's Meg's orkingtides@gmail.com. Spread the word, let your friends know. And Margaret did bring up, and also Meg did, and we made this a big part of our program last year, even though it was my first time. We want to express that we must be safe. Taking these photos from a safe point is extremely important, as is checking your tide tables and knowing what the tides are. And if you are heading down to the beach and you're one of those beach goers that has checked the tides and you know it, and you're heading down to the beach and you see people heading down, or maybe you're leaving because you know the tide is heading in, and you see a family coming down, or you see a couple coming down, or you see someone with their dog, spread the word. We have the technology to spread the word tonight like we are, but it is important to talk to people on the beach and on the trails down to the beach. Let them know. Don't get in however way that you would like. Being educated about the tides is something that all of us can do and can be and can share. And part of this project is knowing how to be safe now and into the future. And that's why we're taking these photos. So please spread the word and share to those who are out on the trails and who you see. You never know what kind of conversation may be sparked by sharing about the tides. And that's why I'm excited about our next talk as well, because Jonathan White will be talking about the tides around the world and why tides happen and what they are and how different they are from community to community. We have 6 to 10 foot tides kind of all year long here in Oregon, depending where you are. And some people come to the coast and they have no idea. They may be from a place where there's a 1.5 foot tide every day. It's amazing. I mean, I've been working on the coast for a long time, and well, all of us, the 3 of us have been working on the coast and with tides for most of our work days. We think about this, and many people on the coast, they depend on the tides for their livelihoods. They depend on the tides for their recreation, and they have to pay attention to them. But it's incredible to me how many visitors, and even folks who don't, who have lived here for decades, may not even really understand how they can affect folks. So pay attention and tune in to the Oregon King Tide site, and contact any of us, and stay tuned for some more webinars. I want to thank Meg and Margaret and everyone who came into this Zoom room tonight to learn more. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse.
Okay, have a great night. Bye.
Everyone.